Hello friends! The Netherlands, no bigger than Maryland, is the world's second largest agricultural exporter. How does it rival the US, the global leader, by using half its land for high-value crops like eggs, meat, cheese, tomatoes and peppers? Innovation runs in its veins. In 2024, Dutch farms earned $140 billion, 0 cents, with growth steady into 2025. Shockingly, while the US faces a record $49 billion, $500 million, 0 cents trade deficit in FY 2025, up from $31 billion, $800 million, 0 cents, the Netherlands boasts a €42.8 billion surplus. This tiny nation pioneered greenhouses with robots and AI supercharging yields and saving water. But storm clouds loom. Skyrocketing energy costs, worker shortages, and pollution rules threaten its lead. How did the Dutch build this farming empire? And can they teach the US to grow more with less? In the 13th century, a fifth of the Netherlands was underwater. Dikes and windmills reclaimed land for small farms. Then World War II hit. In 1944, Dutch rail workers struck against Nazi occupation. The Nazis cut food supplies, starving 20,000 in the hunger winter. Could this tragedy spark a revolution? Post-war, food security was everything. Minister Sico Mansholt merged farms and funded research, making Wageningen University a global powerhouse. Its ideas fuel startups, from plant-pounded electricity to robotic harvesters and greenhouses spanning Spain to China. In Westland, near Rotterdam, greenhouses glow orange and purple at night, their lamps turning winter into summer. Margaret Lawyer runs Lawyer Cucumbers, a third-generation tomato farm. "My grandfather's farm? Nothing like this," she laughs. Plants here grow a foot a week. Margaret's team prunes vines to avoid a jungle. The Netherlands exports 900,000 tons of tomatoes yearly, despite its chilly climate. Bees pollinate every plant, living in buzzing bee hotels. LEDs mimic sunlight, doubling efficiency. Water use down 90%, but 1 tablespoon grows a pound of tomatoes, not 50 gallons like elsewhere. But here's a twist. Humans still outpick robots, which miss ripe fruit in tangled vines. Can AI change that? Workers pick tomatoes at peak flavor using a color chart. Green, not ready, Margaret says. Ripe ones hit trucks overnight. AI cameras catch splits, while robots sort small or yellow tomatoes. Nearby, Arnoud Dien's VD Holland grows 85 million peppers hydroponically. Computers act as the farm's brain, tweaking heat, water and light. Sticky traps zap bugs, soon scanned by AI. Yields 12 times the global average. In Kentucky, John Smith, once a corn farmer, switched to Dutch-style greenhouses at App Harvest. Droughts crushed us, he says, but LEDs and hydroponics cut water 90%. Bright Farms in Texas delivers greens in 24 hours using Dutch tech. Can the US catch up? VD Holland exports 95% of its peppers via Rotterdam's ports, but greenhouses guzzle energy for 2 million homes. Some say Dutch tomatoes have a carbon footprint 6 times field-grown ones. The Ukraine war spiked costs, cutting Russian gas. Lawyer's farm runs its own power plant, warming greenhouses and selling extra energy. VD Holland drilled for geothermal power with a $46 million 0-cents bet. At Wageningen, Leo Marcellis says lights are life for plants. His LED/power used by half, boosting lettuce's flavor. But can tech beat a bigger crisis? The Netherlands leads Europe in meat with 4 million cows and 104 million chickens. Its dense farms emit the most ammonia per hectare, harming ecosystems with algae blooms. Government buyouts sparked protests. Wageningen's dairy campus tests floors separating cow waste to cut ammonia. Smart feeders find maize reduces methane. The US fights droughts in California but leads with USDA's $3 billion, $100 million, 0 cents for 141 projects across 60,000 farms, trapping carbon with cover crops. Will these fixes save farms, or is it too late? 11. The Dutch can't feed 1 billion hungry people alone. Climate scientist Jonas Jagermeier says outdoor grains feed half the planet, but greenhouses aren't ready for corn. No silver bullet, he warns, but teamwork is close. His AI tools warn farmers of weather shifts, linking them globally. Dutch tech meets American scale in app harvest and USDA projects, potentially boosting US exports 10 to 20%. The real Dutch export? A mindset of collaboration, rivals no more. They could feed the world. Subscribe to see how.
From juicy oranges to sweet berries, their hard work and pride bring millions of tons of crops to our tables. Join me on a journey across the country. Meeting farmers who pour their hearts into every harvest. Season after season, to feed America with love and dedication. First, we step into Florida's citrus groves in spring, where the March sun warms rows of orange trees. Mateo, a young farmer who learned to spot ripe fruit from his grandmother, tends groves that produce 70% of America's oranges. Workers use mechanized shakers to gently collect Valencia oranges, keeping each one perfect for your morning juice. Mateo's team uses drip irrigation. Cutting water use by 30% to keep the groves sustainable despite challenges like citrus greening, a disease that shrinks yields. He holds an orange, split open to reveal its juicy flesh, and says, "These oranges are Florida's soul. We fight to keep them sweet." His family's $7 billion 0 cents industry fuels festivals where locals sip fresh juice, celebrating a crop that defines their state. Next, summer takes us to the Oregon Berry Festival, where families savor pies made from the Pacific Northwest's freshest berries. From June to August, farmers like Kathy Unger, who planted her fields where her father once farmed, harvested over 100 million pounds of blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries in Washington and Oregon. Workers pick each berry, ensuring they stay flawless for the market. Drones fly overhead, scanning for ripe fruit, while soil sensors save water and boost yields. Kathy Unger's sustainable methods, like using cover crops to enrich soil, protect the land for future generations. She smiles, holding a basket of blueberries, and says, "These berries are summer's gift. My grandkids will grow up picking them." Her $1 billion zero-cents industry binds communities, with every berry a taste of the Northwest's pride. Then, in Washington's golden orchards, fall brings the apple harvest from September to November. Mike, a farmer whose great-grandfather planted their first trees, oversees fields that produce 60% of America's apples, over 7 million tons. Workers ride automated platforms to pick Red Delicious and Fuji apples from high branches while machines sort them. With optical scanners, cooling each to 32 DGF for crispness. Mike plants cover crops to store carbon, fighting climate change while keeping his soil healthy. At a local apple festival, he hands out warm cider, saying, "Every apple carries Washington's heart. It's our legacy." His crop drives a $2 billion zero-cents export industry, putting American apples on tables worldwide, a source of pride for every farmer. Finally, America's fruit story continues year-round, especially in California, where Sarah harvests avocados in January for Super Bowl guacamole. Her fields, alongside grapevines, produce 95% of U.S. avocados and 99% of table grapes, adding to a $223 billion zero-cents crop industry. Sarah uses regenerative farming, recycling plant waste to enrich soil, ensuring her orchards thrive. She walks through rows of creamy avocados, her face glowing with pride. "These fruits are our love for this land," she says, "shared with every bite." From Michigan's cherries to Georgia's peaches, farmers bring their harvests to markets where families choose fresh fruits, connecting with the hands that grew them. Despite labor shortages, farmers like Sarah use technology and grit to keep America fed year after year. These farmers, Mateo, Kathy Unger, Mike, Sarah, carry a deep pride in their work. They blend tradition with tools like shakers, drones, and sustainable practices to grow fruits that taste like home. Their orchards tell a story of hard work and love for the land. When you enjoy an orange, a berry, or an apple, you're tasting their dedication. From Florida's groves to California's fields,
That's wrong. The global fruit industry, valued at $708 billion, $100 million, 0 cents by 2028 per Grandview Research, uses robots, AI and drones to deliver fresh produce to your table. This video explores the world's top harvested fruits, highlighting cutting-edge technology and American favorites like apples and avocados, backed by FAO and USDA data. Start with apples, America's top fruit, rich in fiber for heart health. The US produces 4.5 million tons yearly, with Washington leading at 65%, says USDA 2024. Workers lift and twist apples to keep stems intact using chest-worn bags. In 2025, robots with AI cameras harvest apples in Washington, cutting labour costs by 30%, per artificial intelligence review. Farmer Jane in Yakima says, "Robots let me focus on quality, not just speed." Avocados packed with healthy fats are a US staple. Mexico grows 2.5 million tons annually, exporting 1.4 million tons to America, per USDA 2024. Farmers use clippers to cut stems and drone-guided poles for tall trees, ensuring no bruising. AI sorting machines grade avocados by size and ripeness, boosting efficiency. US demand jumped 25% in 2025, driven by healthy eating trends, notes Statista. Coconuts, full of healthy oils, come from Indonesia, producing 18.3 million tons yearly per FAO 2023. In Lampung, farmers climb 50-foot trees with ropes, but drones now scout ripe clusters, reducing risks. Farmer Booty says, "Cocobots save time and keep us safer." Coconut oil, 20% of Indonesia's coconut exports. Fuels America's keto diet craze, meeting growing demand for natural fats. Mangoes loaded with vitamin C are harvested in Mexico at 2.1 million tons yearly, per USDA 2024. Farmers use nets to pick mangoes at dawn, guided by AI sensors to detect ripeness. Fruits are sorted by robotic arms to avoid scratches. Maria in Chiapas says technology helps us meet US demand for perfect mangoes. Mangoes are a favourite in American smoothies and salads. Bananas high in potassium are led by India with 35.2 million tonnes per FAO 2023. Teams cut in 60-pound bunches, catching them to prevent bruising. Drones monitor fields in Tamil Nadu. Ensuring green bananas are picked for shipping to the US. Their long shelf life cuts food waste, a key focus in 2025 sustainability efforts. Aligning with American consumer priorities. Indonesia harvests 3.2 million tonnes of pineapples, rich in vitamin C per FAO 2023. In Lampong, farmers cut pineapples with knives, but AI-guided machines now sort them by sweetness. These pineapples reach US stores, with organic varieties up 15% in demand. Says Fruit Logistica 2025. Technology ensures the crunchy texture Americans love in pineapple recipes. As you may know, Brazil grows 16.1 million tonnes of oranges, a vitamin C powerhouse per FAO 2023. Workers twist oranges off stems, but robots are being tested in Sao Paulo to pick fruit. Despite greening, disease cutting yields by 20%, per Choices magazine. Hurricane Milton in 2024 hit US orange groves, pushing reliance on Brazil's supply for America's orange juice market. Spain produces 1.1 million tonnes of watermelons, hydrating and low calorie, per FAO 2023. Farmers cut ripe fruit when tendrils brown using human chains. In 2025, robotic cutters with sound sensors detect hollow watermelons, improving speed. Seedless varieties are top sellers in US markets, meeting consumer demand for convenience. India's papayas, at 6.3 million tonnes, offer vitamin A, per FAO 2023. Farmers pick them when skin turns yellow, using drone-monitored fields. Spain's plums, at 168,000 tonnes, are sorted by AI machines, boosting exports by 10% per Fruit Logistica 2025. Japan's peaches, at 130,000 tonnes, use robotic arms for gentle picking, sold as $1,800, 0 cents per kilogram gifts. In 2025, fruit farming faces hurricanes and labour shortages, per USDA. Robots and drones help, but 40% of US farm workers are undocumented, risking $19 million 0 cents in losses.
Hello. Australia's beef industry is a global powerhouse, and at its heart are cutting-edge processing plants that process more than 20,000 head of cattle every day. These aren't just cutting-edge hubs, they're the future of meat production in Queensland and beyond. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of a processing factory? Leave a comment and follow Trending Farm's journey to see if it resonates with you. The people powering these processing factories are as impressive as the tech itself. Take John Mitchell, a facility manager at JBS Beef City in Queensland, who spent 20 years in the industry. The machines handle the heavy lifting now faster and safer than I ever dreamed, he says. Alongside him is Sarah Newen, a robotics engineer who fine-tunes the systems. They work in spotless control rooms, monitoring screens that track every step of the process. These facilities, scattered across Australia's beef belt from Queensland to Victoria, process millions of kilos of beef yearly. It's a far cry from the manual labor of decades past, and it's all centered in these high-tech processing factories. Where does this magic happen? One standout is JBS Beef City, a processing factory that handles up to 1,400 cattle per day. Cattle arrive via automated gates, guided into pens before entering the gleaming stainless steel interior. The facility spans 26 hectares and employs over 800 people, blending human skill with machine efficiency. This place runs like clockwork, John notes, pointing to the seamless flow from pen to production line. These processing factories aren't just big. They're designed to meet Australia's role as the world's second largest beef exporter. Have you ever wondered where your steak really comes from? Now let's dive into the machines that make these processing factories tick. The star is the automated stunning system, using AI-guided bolt guns that deliver a humane knockout in under a second. Then, there's the robotic carcass splitter, equipped with laser-guided blades. It slices a carcass in 0.2 seconds with 99% accuracy, far surpassing human precision. Conveyor belts, moving at 500 carcasses per hour, tie it all together. This tech cuts human error by 95%, Sarah explains proudly. These systems cost upwards of $5 million each, but they pay off by boosting output and safety. It's a high-stakes investment for a high-reward industry. So, how does a cow become a steak in these processing factories? It starts with the cattle entering via automated gates, stunned instantly by the AI system. Next, robotic arms skin and split the carcass, guided by sensors that adjust for size and weight. Finally, the meat is chilled in massive coolers, dropping from 38 DGC to 7 DGC in hours before packaging. The entire process takes less than 20 minutes per animal, a speed unthinkable without automation. It's clean, quick, and efficient, says Tom Reynolds, a veteran cattle farmer who supplies JBS. Efficiency is king in these processing factories, but does faster always mean better? Why does all this matter? These processing factories feed a hungry world, supporting Australia's $13 billion beef industry. They meet soaring global demand. Think 2.8 million tons exported annually while cutting waste and labor costs. Yet, there's debate. Some worry automation reduces jobs, with traditional abattoirs employing 30% more workers than modern sites. Others argue it's greener, slashing water use by 15% compared to older methods. This keeps us ahead of the game, Tom insists, nodding to the export ships loaded with beef. What do you think? Does high-tech farming help or hurt rural communities? This revolution didn't happen overnight. In the 1,980s, processing factories relied on manual labor, slow, risky, and inconsistent. 2000s, automation crept in, and today's systems are a $500 million leap forward. Compare that to the U.S., where similar tech lags 5 to 10 years behind Australia's pace. We've rewritten the rulebook in 20 years, Sarah says, reflecting on the shift. These processing factories now churn out 25% more beef per hour than their manual ancestors. It's a story of progress, but is newer always better, or do we lose something along the way? In short, Australia's processing factories are a marvel of modern farming. They blend million-dollar machines with humans who know how to deliver beef faster, safer, and smarter. From the original breeding cows to the sizzling steak, it's a system built for tomorrow. This is the future, and it's on your plate, John says with a grin. Next time you bite into a burger, think about the processing factory behind it. Hello, folks. Did you know that over 130 million pigs are processed into pork every year in the U.S. alone? That's about 353,000 pigs hitting the processing factory daily. Ever wonder how your bacon gets from a squealing pig to your breakfast plate? What happens inside those massive facilities? Let's dive into the wild world of pork production and find out. Pork production in the U.S. is a colossal industry, and it all starts on sprawling farms, especially in states like Iowa, North Carolina, and Minnesota. These aren't your grandpa's barnyards. Modern pig farms can house up to 20,000 pigs at once, more than the population of many small towns. Historically, pigs were domesticated around 9,000 years ago, but today's factory farming kicked into high gear after World War II, driven by a booming demand for cheap meat. Scientific research from the USDA shows that pigs grow from piglets to a market weight of about 280 pounds in just 6 months, thanks to optimized feed and climate-controlled barns. But how do you feel about eating an animal raised in a space smaller than your bedroom? Once they're ready, millions of pigs hit the road, literally. Trucks haul them across states and even from Canada to processing factories in places like Sioux City, Iowa, or Tar Heel, North Carolina. According to a 2023 report from the National Pork Board, the U.S. pork industry ships over 27 billion pounds of pork annually, worth a staggering $23 billion to the economy. Yet it's not all smooth sailing. More than 1 million pigs do not meet quality standards during transport each year due to stress or overcrowding, a grim stat from the American Meat Institute. Picture this: a truck packed with pigs rolling down I-80 for 1,000 miles. Ever seen one of those on your road trips? What do you think about that journey? Now let's step inside the processing factory where the real action happens. I talked to Mike, a worker at a Smithfield Foods plant in Illinois, who said, "We process 1,200 pigs an hour. It's loud, fast, and you don't stop." These factories run 24/7, especially before holidays like Thanksgiving, when pork demand spikes. High-speed machines slice a pig into cuts like chops or bacon in seconds, producing over 12 million tons of pork yearly, enough to fill 20,000 Olympic swimming pools. A 2022 financial report from Tyson Foods, a pork giant, showed $6 billion in pork revenue alone. But here's a question. Would you want to work in a processing factory after hearing Mike's story? The scale of this industry is mind-blowing, but it's not without controversy. Dr. Jane Carter, an agricultural researcher at Iowa State University, told me, "Factory farming cuts costs, but it pumps out 200 million tons annually, more than some U.S. cities produce." That's a big environmental red flag. Compare that to smaller pasture-based farms which raise fewer pigs but use 50% less water per pound of pork, per a 2021 study in Nature. Economically, though, factory pork keeps prices low. Bacon's about $7 per pound versus $12 from small farms. So what's more important to you? Cheap pork or a cleaner planet? Let's hear from the pigs, or at least imagine their side. If a pig could talk, one crammed in a barn might say, "I've got 8 square feet to move, and that's it." Animal welfare groups like the ASPCA argue that these conditions are tough, with pigs packed tighter than rush-hour subway riders. Yet the industry counters that tight spaces mean efficiency. More pork, less cost. Official data from the U.S. Census of Agriculture shows 70% of pigs now come from farms with over 5,000 animals, a shift from the 1,990s when small farms dominated. Ever raised an animal yourself? How do you think a pig feels in a processing factory pipeline? So why does all this matter? It's not just about food, it's about choices. The pork on your plate ties into jobs. Over 500,000 in the U.S. Global trade, 25% of pork is exported, and even climate debates. Next time you're at the grocery store, will you grab that pack of ribs knowing 130 million pigs went through a processing factory for it? What's your take? Love the efficiency or hate the impact? In short, America's pork industry is a high-speed, high-stakes machine, shipping millions of pigs to processing factories every year. It's a story of innovation, scale, and tough questions. Want more behind-the-scenes looks like this? Drop a comment telling me what you think about factory farming, or if you've got a pork recipe to share. Hello, folks. Did you know that over 130 million pigs are processed into pork every year? In the U.S. alone? That's about 353,000 pigs hitting the processing factory daily. Ever wonder how your bacon gets from a squealing pig to your breakfast plate? What happens inside those massive facilities? Let's dive into the wild world of pork production and find out. Pork production in the U.S. is a colossal industry, and it all starts on sprawling farms, especially in states like Iowa, North Carolina, and Minnesota. These aren't your grandpa's barnyards. Modern pig farms can house up to 20,000 pigs at once, more than the population of many small towns. Historically, pigs were domesticated around 9,000 years ago, but today's factory farming kicked into high gear after World War II, driven by a booming demand for cheap meat. Scientific research from the USDA shows that pigs grow from piglets to a market weight of about 280 pounds in just 6 months, thanks to optimized feed and climate-controlled barns. But how do you feel about eating an animal raised in a space smaller than your bedroom? Once they're ready, millions of pigs hit the road, literally. Trucks haul them across states and even from Canada to processing factories in places like Sioux City, Iowa, or Tar Heel, North Carolina. According to a 2023 report from the National Pork Board, the U.S. pork industry ships over 27 billion pounds of pork annually, worth a staggering $23 billion to the economy. Pork production in the U.S. is a colossal industry, and it all starts on sprawling farms, especially in states like Iowa, North Carolina, and Minnesota. These aren't your grandpa's barnyards. Modern pig farms can house up to 20,000 pigs at once, more than the population of many small towns. Historically, pigs were domesticated around 9,000 years ago, but today's factory farming kicked into high gear after World War II, driven by a booming demand for cheap meat. Scientific research from the USDA shows that pigs grow from piglets to a market weight of about 280 pounds in just 6 months, thanks to optimized feed and climate-controlled barns. But how do you feel about eating an animal raised in a space smaller than your bedroom? Once they're ready, millions of pigs hit the road, literally. Trucks haul them across states and even from Canada to processing factories in places like Sioux City, Iowa, or Tar Heel, North Carolina. According to a 2023 report from the National Pork Board, the U.S. pork industry ships over 27 billion pounds of pork annually, worth a staggering $23 billion to the economy. The people powering these processing factories are as impressive as the tech itself. Take John Mitchell, a facility manager at JBS Beef City in Queensland, who spent 20 years in the industry. The machines handle the heavy lifting now faster and safer than I ever dreamed, he says. Alongside him is Sarah Newen, a robotics engineer who fine-tunes the systems. They work in spotless control rooms, monitoring screens that track every step of the process. These facilities, scattered across Australia's beef belt from Queensland to Victoria, process millions of kilos of beef yearly. It's a far cry from the manual labor of decades past, and it's all centered in these high-tech processing factories. Where does this magic happen? One standout is JBS Beef City, a processing factory that handles up to 1,400 cattle per day. Cattle arrive via automated gates, guided into pens before entering the gleaming stainless steel interior. The facility spans 26 hectares and employs over 800 people, blending human skill with machine efficiency. This place runs like clockwork, John notes, pointing to the seamless flow from pen to production line. These processing factories aren't just big. They're designed to meet Australia's role as the world's second largest beef exporter. Have you ever wondered where your steak really comes from?
AI technologies are gradually developing and created by human hands. What if each processing factory gradually has fewer people working? Please share your thoughts below in the comments section of this video. And lastly, don't forget to recommend the channel to your friends so they can watch too. Thank you and goodbye. See you again in the next videos.